Joining me is the political panel, Cameron Milner, former Chief of Staff to Labor leader Bill Shorten, now Director of GXO Strategies, and Michael Costa, former New South Wales Labor Treasurer. Cameron, Victoria's a basket case because it's spent too much, racked up a record debt. In fact, the debt is one of the worst that any state in the developed world outside America has ever contracted, or is contracted now. And of course, it's now got to cut public servants. Is this a glimpse of our future under more Albanese Labor government in Canberra as well?
Well, I mean, Albanese is already heading towards $1 trillion of federal debt. But I like that clip before, Andrew, where he was Mr. Happy in South Australia and Mr. Snappy when it came to Victoria. Why? Because Victorians are voting against him in droves. He knows there's 4 to 8 seats which will put him into minority government in Victoria alone. And that's a revolt against Albo, it's a revolt against Allan, but especially a revolt against Daniel Andrews and those horrible COVID lockdowns that still don't have a Royal Commission into them, Andrew. So there's a long legacy here of Labor letting Victorians down, and Albo's the next cab off the rank on May 3, and Victorians know that. Yeah, well, I've got to say, the Resolve poll, Michael, showed that the Labor vote, the federal Labor vote in Victoria, was 3 points down on the vote in its vote in New South Wales. So clearly, Labor in Victoria is dragging the government down. But I do wonder if it's also Victoria is an insight into where we're going with policies that are spend, 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 and not grow, grow, grow.
Well, I think there's no doubt you can draw a parallel between the fiscal mismanagement of Victoria and the federal government. That interest rate hold yesterday just shows that. And we did speculate many months ago that that would actually be a negative for the government, because now it's going into a 5-week election campaign with no prospect of any interest rate decreases based on its fiscal mismanagement, the debt and the budget deficits. And, he's going to wear that because it's a talking point he hasn't got any longer in terms of the national fiscal position. And yes, Victoria would just reflect that and fortify that perception amongst the public.
Now, Cameron, there's got to be a challenge, I think, for Peter Dutton tomorrow. Tomorrow is what Donald Trump calls Liberation Day. I'm not quite sure why it's got that title, but it is the day when the US president is going to announce more tariffs on imports to America, probably including tariffs on Australian imports. How damaging will that be? And I don't just mean to Peter Dutton, to Australia, because we don't export that much to America, but how damaging would it be to Peter Dutton?
Well, Trump's going to be the cycle throughout this whole federal election campaign, as we know, Andrew. We've discussed that before the election even started. So Trump's going to have an effect, and tomorrow is going to be a big effect. The difference, I think, is that we're going to see weak Albo respond to whatever Trump's craziness is tomorrow. And what Dutton needs to do is come out and be the strong leader that voters have actually thought he was, and need to see again if he's got any chance between now and May 3.
But that means, Michael, that he has to take on Donald Trump pretty directly, because right now Labor's trying to pin the Donald Trump logo on Peter Dutton.
No, there's no doubt he's got the response. Whoever responds the strongest to whatever occurs tomorrow is really going to be in a prime political position. And Peter Dutton's got more effect in terms of the impact of this than Albo has in that sense, But I also worry too, Andrew, about Dutton's general response. I saw the interview on Sky today and I thought he was very weak. Somebody in his office has told him to act prime ministerial. I think he's reading the electorate wrong. It's up to him to take the issue up. So he has to come out very strong, and he has to make, the case that a vote for the ALP is a vote for the Greens and their policies, banning cars, petrol cars and diesel cars. He's really got to get the mongrel back into him, because I just fear that somebody's told him to tone down the image, and that's the worst thing he can do.
Oh, I tend to agree with that. Look, if you've got a negative, try to turn it into a positive. Don't try to deny it. Bill Shorten made the mistake of trying to deny that. Turn what's supposedly being too tough and mean into strong. That's what you should do, I think. Cameron, it's been a strange campaign. Labor making a campaign out of nothing issues, like this promise today. We're going to ask someone else to give someone other workers money that will be paid by bosses, not by us. I mean, it's just complete nonsense. And just going Medicare, 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 Medicare with a fake claim that the Liberals would tear up your Medicare card. What have been the big moments so far of this strange campaign for you?
Well, I think there's two moments. One is this bizarre situation we've got where Angus Taylor's gone out and said he'll actually stand against a tax cut for Australians. I mean, Australians might not like $5, but they still want $5 in their pocket than $5 for Albo to waste. So that's the first thing. The second, though, and to Peter Dutton's credit, he went to Thargomindah 48 hours ago, which has been flooded. An area the size of Victoria is currently under flood. No Prime Minister, no Deputy Prime Minister, no one seen from Albo's team, but Peter Dutton took time out of the campaign trail, go and talk to people who are suffering from some of the worst floods in 50 years in Queensland. And I think that's one of the moments in the campaign that should be remembered.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that they didn't, the Liberals didn't say that we will also, pass this tax cut, as small as it is, instead of abolishing it, because the next Senate, after the election, will not abolish that tax. They're going to have to live with it if they win a government anyway. So I don't know why they promise what they can't deliver. Michael, what did you make? What do you think is the big moment so far of the campaign?
Well, again, I'll come back to that interest rate hold yesterday. I think that changes the dynamic on the economy. I mean, they had a real step, the government, in relation to saying, look, all our policies are working and interest rates are heading down. Well, they're not heading down. This allows Peter Dutton to attack the budget deficit, as I said, the debt. It also allows him to focus in on this issue of, the vote for Labor being the vote for the Greens and all of their policies. And remember, the ground is so fertile there. I just raised that issue about banning, SUVs and diesels and things that Australians want. But there's also electricity, coal-fired power stations. Then there's also defence spending. I think these are the issues that he's now able to capitalise on, because really underpinning all of this is the cost of living. And the government story on the cost of living has just been blown out of the water. We've got 5 weeks where they've got no ability to argue the cost of living is coming down.
Yeah, there was interesting that one good promise, I thought, from the coalition was to say that they would not enforce the fines of companies that didn't sell enough electric vehicles under its emission standards thing.
Absolutely.
I think that'll help prevent car prices from going up. So that's great, I think. What do you make of that one, Cameron?
Well, I think Dutton's got, 28 days left now to get back to cost of living. Cost of living, cost of living. That's the central issue of concern to voters. And that's what people want to hear a solution to. Now, Peter Dutton did that with the Albo voice. When everyone said it wasn't possible and Albo was going to wipe the floor with the Albo voice, Dutton stood up strong for his values and articulated an argument to Australians, and he won every single state. National vote and every single state. He needs to do the same on cost of living. He needs to get down to the basics of that. And I think, to your point, Michael, in an earlier program, he needs to come out with an income tax cut. He actually needs to change this conversation up for Australians with a real income tax cut, not the $5 we received last week.
I don't think they've got any money for that. I think they've shot that one, but who knows? Maybe they're going to surprise us in the end after all. Cameron Milner, Michael Costa, thank you very much to you both.